My best friend fell in love with my girlfriend. I always thought the worst kind of betrayal came from a stranger. But I was wrong. It comes from someone who knows you. Someone who knows your laugh, your fears, the names of your childhood pets. Someone who promised they'd never hurt you, and then did it anyway, with a smile that says, "I didn't mean to." That's what this story is about. It's about trust. And how it dies. I met Ethan in the 4th grade. I still remember the day. He had a black eye and a Batman lunchbox. Some older kid had picked a fight with him, and Ethan, half his size, still threw the first punch. I liked that. I liked the fire in him. We became inseparable after that. Sleepovers turned into high school adventures, turned into drunken college nights. He was the best man at my 24th birthday party, and the only one who stayed to clean up the mess. He once drove through a snowstorm just to bring me soup when I had the flu. So when I met Olivia, when I saw her across that bookstore aisle, biting her lip and scanning Murakami like it was a map to her soul, it felt only right to bring her into our world, into our little universe. Ethan was the first person I introduced her to. And he smiled. That perfect, charming Ethan smile. I should have known then. But love makes you blind, not just to flaws, but to the tiny shifts in body language, the lingering glances, the slow fading of something you thought would last forever. Olivia and I clicked from the start. She wasn't like other girls I had dated. She didn't just laugh at my jokes. She built on them, outwitted me in debates, listened like every word I said mattered. Her touch was soft. Her voice was low and steady. She loved cloudy skies, old movies, and secretly, the smell of petrol. We spent nights on rooftops, talking about things that didn't matter, but somehow did. Childhood memories, death, what colors felt like sadness. She made me feel seen, grounded, alive. And she loved Ethan. Platonically, I told myself. He was funny, easy to talk to. The three of us would go out. Dinners, hikes, board game nights that ended in tequila shots and laughter that made your ribs ache. Ethan always knew how to fill silence with meaning. Sometimes I'd come back from work and find them watching movies together. I'd laugh, kiss Olivia's head, and tease Ethan for stealing my girl's attention. He'd grin. She'd blush. And I was too stupid to see it. It started with the smallest things. A text she replied to slower than usual. A half smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. I caught them once, not doing anything. Just talking. But it was the way they talked. The way she leaned in. The way he looked at her like she was the only person in the room. I stood there, holding takeout, frozen in the doorway. "Hey!" Olivia smiled, jumping up. "We didn't hear you." I laughed it off. Told myself I was being paranoid. But the seed had been planted. And it began to grow. One night I brought it up. We were lying in bed, her head on my chest, the rain tapping the window like it had a secret to tell. "Do you ever think Ethan acts different around you?" She lifted her head, blinking. "Different? I don't know. Just like he likes you." She laughed. "Of course he likes me. I'm your girlfriend." "No. I mean, likes you." Her face changed. Just a flicker. A shadow crossing the sun. "You're being ridiculous," she whispered, curling back into me. And maybe I was. Maybe. But once the doubt creeps in, it never leaves. It's a poison that drips, slow and silent, until it colors everything. Ethan started coming over more. Helping Olivia fix her car, bringing wine, sending memes. Always there. Always just around. One evening, he came over while I was still at work. Said he was bored, wanted to watch a movie with her. She texted me about it. Said it so casually. I stared at my phone for a long time. I didn't reply. That night, I came home to find them asleep on the couch, her head on his shoulder, his hand loosely hanging near hers. I stood there, felt something inside me snap. I walked into the kitchen, slammed the cupboard harder than I should have. They woke up. "Oh, hey, man!" Ethan rubbed his eyes. "We didn't mean to crash." Olivia looked guilty. Too guilty. "Long day?" she asked, walking toward me. "Yeah," I said, staring past her. "Really long." That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay there, listening to her breathing, counting each inhale like it was a question. Was I losing her? Was I imagining it? Was Ethan? No. No, he wouldn't do that. Not Ethan. Not my best friend. But the truth has a funny way of surfacing. And when it does, it's never quiet. It roars. It was 2 weeks later. Ethan had stopped texting. Olivia was distant. I told myself it was stress, work, something temporary. Then I found her journal. I wasn't looking for it. I was cleaning, lifting things, rearranging drawers. It fell open, and the words punched the air from my lungs. "I feel guilty. Ethan makes me laugh in a way I haven't in a while. It scares me how easy it is with him. But I love Aaron, don't I?" I read that line 10 times, and still didn't understand it. How do you love someone and still want someone else? My hands trembled. I didn't cry. Not then. My tears would come later, like a dam breaking in the dark. But in that moment, all I felt was cold. I didn't confront her right away. I waited, watched. And the more I watched, the more I saw what I hadn't wanted to see. How her smile for me was different now. How her eyes lingered too long when Ethan's name came up. How when we kissed, it felt like she was somewhere else entirely. I called Ethan one night. Just said, "You free?" "Always," he said, and I almost believed him. We met at our usual bar. The one with the terrible nachos and the broken jukebox that still played Springsteen on loop. He hugged me like nothing was wrong. I sat down, ordered whiskey. Then I asked him, "Are you in love with Olivia?" The silence that followed wasn't long, but it felt like falling. Slow, and without end. He didn't answer right away. Ethan just stared at me, eyes wide, caught somewhere between fear and guilt. The way a kid looks when he's broken something priceless, but doesn't know how to admit it. "Are you in love with Olivia?" I repeated, slower this time. No rage in my voice. Just exhaustion. Like a man already drowning, asking if the water's rising. He looked down at his hands, then back at me, and whispered, "I didn't mean to be." That was all I needed. The world didn't explode. No glass shattered. No one stood up and screamed. But something deep inside me, something rooted in every memory we'd shared, cracked open and began to bleed. I nodded. I didn't punch him. I didn't yell. I just nodded and said, "Okay." Because what else do you say when your best friend confirms the worst fear you've ever had? We sat in silence for a long time. The bar was dim, half empty, the smell of stale beer and regret thick in the air. "You should have told me," I finally said. "I didn't know how," he replied. "It just happened. I swear, man, I never planned any of this. I didn't even know I felt something until it was already there. And by then, it was too late." "Did you kiss her?" He shook his head quickly. "No. Never. I'd never do that to you. But you wanted to." He looked away. And that told me everything. I left without saying goodbye. Walked home in the rain, not even noticing how soaked I was. The city blurred around me, lights bleeding into each other like tears down a dirty window. When I got home, Olivia was on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, reading. She looked up and smiled. "Hey, You okay? I didn't answer, just stared at her. Stared so long she put the book down and sat up. Aaron? She said, voice quieter. What is it? I talked to Ethan. That wiped the smile off her face like wind clearing fog. Her lips parted, but no words came out. He told me everything, I said. Told me he's in love with you. She closed her eyes. And that silence, that still, heavy silence, was louder than any scream. I don't know how long we stood like that. Two people, two broken clocks, waiting for a moment that would never come. Finally I said, Do you love him? Tears welled in her eyes. I love you. That's not what I asked. She swallowed hard. Shook her head like she was trying to erase the truth from her own skull. But it was already written there, etched deep into every soft smile she'd ever given him when she thought I wasn't looking. I don't know, she whispered. Those 3 words cut deeper than anything else she could have said. I don't know. The next few days were a blur. I slept on the couch. Barely ate. Ignored her texts, her notes left on the counter, her voice calling after me when I walked out. The air between us turned cold. Tense. Like a house haunted by something we couldn't see, but felt in every creak of the floorboards. I didn't speak to Ethan. Didn't speak to anyone. Just drifted. Then came the night she packed her bags. I came home and found her standing in the doorway, suitcase beside her, eyes red from crying. I think I should go, she said. I didn't stop her. Didn't ask where she was going. Didn't beg or shout or make promises I knew I couldn't keep. I just nodded. And said, Okay. Because what else do you say when the woman you love no longer knows if she loves you back? She left. And the silence she left behind was unbearable. Not loud. Not angry. Just empty. A quiet hum that wrapped itself around my chest and tightened with every passing day. Ethan didn't call. Didn't text. For once, he understood boundaries. Or maybe he just didn't know how to fix what he broke. Weeks passed. I tried to move on. Went out with friends, threw myself into work, deleted old photos, blocked memories like they were spam. But it didn't work. You can't delete people from your heart the way you delete them from your phone. They live there, rent-free, long after they're gone. Then, one night, about a month later, I got a message from Ethan. Can we talk? Please. One last time. I stared at it for a while, then replied, Tomorrow. 7 p.m., the bridge. The bridge was our spot. Ours as in me and Ethan. Not Olivia. It was where we used to sneak beers in high school. Where we sat when his dad died. Where I told him about Olivia the night I realized I wanted to marry her. So it felt right. Or maybe poetic. Or maybe I just wanted closure. He was already there when I arrived. Same hoodie. Same stupid nervous smile. Hey, he said. I didn't answer. Just leaned against the railing. The river below was dark. Still. Like it was holding its breath for what was about to happen. I didn't come to apologize, Ethan said. Not because I'm not sorry, I am. But because I know sorry isn't enough. I nodded slowly. He continued. I tried to ignore it. The feelings. I told myself it was just a crush. That it'd pass. But it didn't. And the worst part? I hated myself for it. Every time she looked at me, every time we laughed, I felt like I was betraying you. But I couldn't stop. You could have told me, I said. I know. I should have. But I was afraid. I didn't want to lose you. You lost me anyway. He looked down. I know. The wind picked up. Cold. Biting. But neither of us moved. Are you two together now? I asked. No, he said quickly. We haven't even talked since she left. I don't even know where she is. You still love her? He hesitated, then nodded. But I miss you more, he added. God, Aaron, we've been brothers since we were 10. I messed up. I know that. But if there's any way, we can fix this. I turned to face him, and for the first time in weeks, really looked at him. He looked older, worn, guilty, but also honest. I don't hate you, I said. He looked surprised. I want to, I added. Every part of me wants to. But I can't, because you were my best friend. And maybe, deep down, you still are. He exhaled, like he'd been holding his breath forever. But I can't trust you. Not yet. Maybe not ever. He nodded. I get that. We stood there a little longer, side by side, like the way things used to be. But nothing was the same. And deep down, we both knew it. When I got home that night, there was a letter in my mailbox. No return address. Just my name, written in Olivia's handwriting. I brought it inside, sat on the edge of my bed, and opened it with shaking hands. And what I read changed everything. The letter was short, handwritten in blue ink, the kind that smudged a little near the bottom, probably from tears. Or maybe just rain. I'll never know. Aaron, I'm sorry for leaving the way I did. I didn't want to hurt you. But staying felt like lying. The truth is, I did fall for Ethan. Not all at once. It was slow, unintentional, like sleep creeping in at the end of a long day. I tried to fight it. I really did. But feelings don't ask for permission. They just happen. I never cheated on you. Not physically. But emotionally. I know I did. And that's its own kind of betrayal. I hated myself for it. For smiling at his jokes the way I used to smile at yours. For wondering about him when I was lying next to you. And the worst part? I still loved you. That never stopped. You were good to me. Kind. Safe. You loved me fully. The kind of love most people spend their lives praying for. But I couldn't love you the same way anymore. And I didn't know how to tell you that without breaking your heart. I don't know where this leaves us. I don't even know where it leaves me. I just wanted you to know that you didn't do anything wrong. You love me well. And I'll carry that love with me for the rest of my life. Olivia. I read it 3 times. The first time, my hand shook. The second time, I cried. The third time, I just stared at her handwriting. The little loops in her YS, the soft slope of the S in sorry. It was all so achingly familiar. Intimate. Like tracing a scar you've learned to live with. She didn't ask for forgiveness. She didn't beg for a second chance. She just told me the truth. And somehow, that hurt more than anything else. The days after the letter felt different. Not better. Not worse. Just quieter. The kind of quiet that settles in your chest when you've cried everything you had to cry. When the shouting in your head turns into a whisper. When grief stops knocking on your door and just sits outside, waiting to be noticed. I didn't reach out to her. Didn't text Ethan either. I started taking long walks. I'd wake up before the sun and just walk until the streets turned gold. The air felt cleaner in the morning. Empty. Like the world was resetting. Sometimes I'd sit on a bench and watch old couples hold hands. And I'd wonder if I'd ever get to be that lucky. One afternoon, maybe 2 weeks after the letter, Ethan showed up at my door. I didn't expect him. Didn't even hear his car pull up. I opened the door and just stood there. He looked rough. Sleepless. Like someone carrying a weight too heavy for his frame. I'm not here to ask for anything, he said. I just needed to say one last thing. I didn't answer. Just moved aside. He stepped in, looked around, smiled softly at the familiar mess. You haven't changed a thing, he said. I haven't had the strength to. He nodded, sat on the edge of the couch like it wasn't his anymore. I read the letter, I told him. He blinked. She sent it to you? Left it in my mailbox. He looked down. She didn't tell me. I figured. Silence stretched between us again. Same silence that used to be filled with stupid jokes, music debates, late-night confessions. I don't think I can ever trust you again, I said finally. He nodded. I know. And I don't hate you. But I also don't know how to be your friend anymore. I wouldn't ask you to be, he said quietly. I just wanted to tell you. I still think about everything. Every day. How we used to be. What I did. What I lost. I looked at him. At the man who once knew every version of me. And now felt like a stranger. You lost me, I said. He swallowed hard. I know. When he left, I didn't cry. I just felt tired. Like some part of me finally exhaled. A month later, I saw Olivia again. I was walking through the weekend market downtown, buying stupid little things I didn't need. Candles, local honey, some handmade journal I knew I'd never write in. She was standing by the flowers, holding a small bouquet of white daisies. She looked the same, but softer, like grief had weathered her into something wiser, sadder. Our eyes met. She smiled. I smiled back. She didn't walk over. Neither did I. We didn't need to. Some people leave your life, and you spend years wondering why. Others leave, and one look tells you everything you need to know. We were over. Not out of hatred. Not even because of betrayal anymore. But because some things aren't meant to last. Some people are chapters, not endings. And maybe that's okay. That night, I sat on my balcony and opened the journal I'd bought. Wrote one sentence. Letting go isn't weakness. Sometimes it's the strongest thing you'll ever do. Then I closed it and watched the stars. For the first time in months. I didn't feel alone. I just felt alive.